Welcome to the fifth episode of the Middle School AD Podcast. I am your host, Thomas Fredrickson. And today we sit down with Ryan Johnson, who is a registered athletic administrator from the Kings Academy in Florida. We discuss a lot today on how to implement a sports marketing club into your athletic department. We also touch on social media usage within your students and your teams and coaching today's student athletes. I hope you're able to get better today from our discussion, but before we dive in, here's a word from our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Gipper, the preferred sports graphics platform for ADs. Start creating professional-looking sports graphics today by starting a free trial. Middle School AD podcast listeners get 10% off any plan when you use code MSAD10 at Gipper.com. As an athletic administrator, you understand better than most how much support matters. Support for your coaches, support for your athletes, and support for your department are crucial to providing the best possible experience for every student. Snap Mobile is now your one-stop for all the tools you need to support your department. With our expanded suite of products, you can now raise money, open team stores, schedule and manage your facilities, and communicate with your athletes, parents, and stakeholders with the same level of care you've come to expect from Snap. Visit snapraise.com today to schedule a demo with your local Snap Mobile representative.
Hometown Ticketing makes it fast and easy to buy tickets on your school's website or in the new Hometown Fan app. It's simple. Just search for your school, buy your tickets, and they'll be right there in your account, ready to be scanned when you get to your event. Download the Hometown Fan app today.
This is Game Time. Neptune Game Time creates a high-energy game day atmosphere that your players and fans will love. Every song in our database is 100% lyric safe, which means you can stop screening music for good. Game Time also provides custom messaging to help you promote your upcoming events, concessions, and event-specific announcements. And it gives you the opportunity to sell sponsorships on your station that will generate revenue for your athletic department. Amp up your game day with Game Time.
Welcome to another episode of the Middle School AD Podcast. Today we are speaking with Ryan Johnson, who is a registered athletic administrator. Ryan is the assistant athletic director at Kings Academy in Florida. He's been an AD for 4 years and is in charge of sports information and game day operations at Kings Academy. Ryan, thanks for joining on with us today. And before we get started, if you want to let everyone else know a little bit more about you and kind of how you got into the athletic administration role.
Yeah, so interesting. I'm only 29 years old, so I've only been working in athletics as a career for this will be my 6th year. 4 years as assistant athletic director at the Kings Academy. We're in West Palm Beach, Florida, so we're a private K through 12 school. So a lot of my work has actually been both middle school and high school. Majority high school initially because I was kind of game day ops, so I was more focused on making sure our varsity head coaches were fulfilled and everything they wanted, that when it comes to the setup, when it comes to traveling and away games, that they were ready for that. So that's kind of was my initial role when I first got into athletics at Kings. But I really was going to be an accountant. I graduated from the University of Central Florida. I got my accounting degree. My dad was a CPA. I started studying for my CPA in 2015 to sit for that, become an accountant just like my dad. And my old coach at Kings Academy, my old soccer coach, reached out to me because he knew I was back in the area, and he's like, "Ryan, do you want to come coach soccer? I got a JV head coach position available." And I was like, "Sure, I might as well do that on the side. I like soccer. I like athletics. I like sports because I've been playing my whole life. I've been in the travel scene my whole life. I walked on at UCF for tennis, so I played at a D1 level. So I love sports. So I was like, listen, I'm a competitor. Sure, I'll come do that." So that was my first introduction. I was just a coach my first year at Kings. And then the next year, a part-time position in athletic department opened up as a game day manager. And that was just more setup and making sure the coaches any needs they had last minute, any day of needs that I was there to kind of help them with that. So that was my introduction to athletics, to the athletic department at the high school, middle school level. And I kind of fell in love immediately. I'm like, it's pretty insane to work in a job where it's always sports. Like I can literally wake up and I'm thinking sports. I'm thinking athletics. I'm thinking student athletes. I'm thinking, hey, what games do we have on the schedule this week? I'm like the biggest fan. Like that's such cool to have a job that's what you do every day. So I fell in love with it. I couldn't see myself sitting at an office desk for 60 to 70 hours a week. So I applied for that position. Chris Hobbs and Adam Winters, the Kings Academy. Adam was the AD. Chris was the associate AD. And Chris is now at Second Baptist in Houston, Texas. Those are my biggest mentors for sure. But they hired me. They saw my work ethic. They saw my passion for sports, and I was a quick learner. So eventually, I became the assistant athletic director. Within a year and a half, I decided to throw the accounting to the side. I knew I didn't want to do that, and that's when I decided to go full time as a career as an athletic administrator. I've been doing that for 4 years. As I said, I started in game ops and just game management, and I worked myself into kind of being the guy over the game of management and the game ops and scheduling scoreboard operators, music, making sure they feel this setup, talking to the facility managers, making sure everything is in line for the games, especially the home games. And also I started taking over the marketing and the sports informational director part of it, which is really what I love to death about working in athletics. I love the marketing aspect. I love the appearance of a beautiful website that shows your student athletes, shows your teams. I love the social media aspect of all that. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm over the game ops, but I'm also over the marketing of our athletic department. And I just want to keep adding to my resume and keep building as an athletic administrator. I just got a master's degree at FAU. So, and I'm an RAA with the NIAAA. So I'm keep working at it, but I love what I do and I'm really enjoying it.
Good deal. Yeah. I guess I have to make a formal invite to Chris Hobbs to come onto the podcast, because I think he pushed you this way or gave me your name, plus the guys over at Second Baptist who we had on the podcast. I think it was the last 2 episodes ago. Once this one comes out.
Yeah.
So Chris, if you're listening, this is your formal invite to come on.
Seriously, I challenge him. I challenge Chris Hobbs to get on this. Okay.
That's good.
He can't do as good as me. You can't do as good.
We'll get him on. We
love it.
If you look at the website, we've got some big hitters in the spring, so we'll put them in with all of them. But it's good, and it's good to hear talking to a fellow soccer player. Again, it's always nice to find another soccer guy that made it to the AD world, because it's, again, when I was playing, it was never a thought that a soccer guy would be able to make it there. But now, like you said, it's pretty much wide open. And like you said, it's wonderful because I get paid to watch sports. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see. But yes, I get paid to show up to games and hang out in sporting events and things like that. So that's good stuff. I think we just talked about him, but if you want to kind of dive in a little more, or if there was somebody else, but who's been one of your biggest mentors and why?
Yeah, so I've been blessed. As I said, Adam Winters, who's the current AD at Kings. I'm the assistant AD, and Chris Hobbs. They're both there at the same time, the same athletic department when I started. I couldn't ask for 2 better mentors and 2 people that are kind of opposite. They're the exact opposite people. So I got to understand kind of 2 different directions of leadership. I got to understand 2 different strengths and weaknesses, because they kind of built off each other, which is really cool to see. So Chris, expert communicator, organizer, marketer, relational guy. Like, he's an amazing guy to get to know. He's always out and about. He's always visible to the community. He's always visible to the athletes, to his coaches. So I really learned the relational side, the communication side from Chris when I was underneath him when he was at Kings Academy. And that was big because I'm trying to grow into my own leader and lead my own department. And I'm trying to take the things that I'm learning and seeing. And I really understand that, listen, you got to reach out to your coaches. You got to talk to your coaches. You got to be involved. You got to be at the practices. You got to show your face. And that's with the student athletes as well. Like, you got to be around. If they see that you care, they see that you're there, and that you're putting an effort in, it really makes a big impact on their respect for you. The things you say don't just go at a blind ear. They actually will listen. They actually put it into what they're doing. And they'll take more of who you are and take it as, hey, this guy's for me. This guy's backing me. So Chris was that guy. And I took a lot from Chris Hobbs. I love that man. Adam Winters was the boots on the ground, behind the scene, the hard worker, the diligent time and effort he puts in every single day to the things that people don't see. And that's the behind the scenes stuff that you kind of referred to, Thomas, a minute ago. He was the little details when it comes to fields and facilities. Like, he would walk on a football field before a game and he could point out 7 different little things that somebody might notice that might distract them, or might think like, oh, why they do this poorly, or our president's not going to be happy because of this, this, and this. Like, he is so detail oriented when it comes to the presentation of our games and of our facilities and of our fields. And he's just a guy that will go out and do it himself. So he was the athletic director when I actually was at school. I'm sure he doesn't want me to say this on air. It makes him feel a little old, but he was actually my AD. He's been at King's Academy for about over 10 years. So, and at that time, he didn't have the support. He didn't have the staff underneath him. He had to do all this stuff himself. So he would go out there and set up fields, and then he would go deal with parents, and then he would go deal with other ADs. And, like, that was his day to day. So he's a guy that's just so hardworking. And I took in a lot from him when it comes to that aspect of, listen, sometimes you just got to do it yourself. Like, sometimes you just got to go out there and handle business yourself. You can't just wait for other people to do it sometimes. So both the guys have been big impact on my career, my development as an athletic administrator, and any success I have, those guys are a big part of it. So I love them both.
Yeah, I think that's what you said. Is sometimes we have to do the jobs that either we don't know how to do just because they need to get done, or things that we do know how to do, but really technically doesn't fall under our day-to-day operation, but we have to get it done to make sure that it's, the event or the game or the whatever goes off successful. And I like what you said about, always looking for the things that could go wrong or that could be complained about.
For sure.
My thought is, like, the left eye is looking at all the things that could go good and all that, and the right eye is looking at all the things that could go wrong. I mean, you've got to play devil's advocate with yourself, and sit here and and argue with each with each side of yourself to make sure that what you're doing or what you're seeing is good and correct, and hopefully you dodge those bullets before they get there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to understand that everybody that walks in that gym, everybody that goes on that field has a judgment, has an opinion of what they're experiencing. So if you want to, first of all, attract people to your school, attract attention to your school, attract a positive reflection of what you're putting on as an event, you got to make sure all those details are in order. You got to make sure the sound was checked 17 times. You got to make sure that everything on that playlist is approved and corrected. Like, you got to make sure for me, like, the huddle camera is set and that the YouTube feed is going to be streaming so people can watch it that are not there. Like, all those little details have to be checked, triple checked, or you'll have one little mistake, one tiny mistake, and then you lose people's opinions and you're like, they've gone south at that point. So it's a lot riding on that, but that's just something you have to go into every game, every day with a mindset like that. So,
yeah, I always say that 80% of the people that step foot on a school campus, whether it be middle school, high school, or whatever level, 80% is coming to an athletic event. And they're seeing your fields, your gymnasium, and a lot of people, that's all they see of your building, and so they make a judgment on your building because of your athletic facilities. The other 10-15% may because of the fine arts and things like that, and the rest is the academics. But majority of the people that come onto your campus, I know mainly with the public side, is coming to an athletic event. Like I
Yeah.
said, with you being at a private school, you may have like church and things like that on the campus as well. But on the definitely on the public side, when it's just a school building and that's all it is, most of the people are coming and to see some type of athletic event. And if things don't go right, then there's that judgment on the whole school.
Yeah.
And that's why I'll get a quick plug for one of our sponsors, the game, Neptune Game Time.
Yep.
They really made my life a whole lot easier when it came to music.
Yeah, we have them as well. So we started using them last year. So 100% agree. You don't have to worry about any type of bad word being thrown out there, which is nice. So for me, it's just come down to, is it copyright?
Oh yeah.
for our YouTube feed, because we run all our live streams through our YouTube page, the Kings Academy on YouTube. So I've had to run checks of all our playlists to make sure that nothing's copyright, so we don't get flagged. So that was the only thing I've had to really worry about now. I have to really worry about the cleanliness of it. But also we're a Christian school, so I actually still have to worry about the cleanliness even through Neptune. So
I used to have to sit down and screen all the playlists myself. So
man,
I'm
gosh, it's a task.
Yeah,
what a task
to them. They've made life a whole lot easier.
Yeah, for sure.
So, kind of getting straight in. So, in your opinion, what do you think the biggest challenge on the middle school side of things is facing today?
So I actually coach middle school boys soccer. So our season just started about 2 weeks ago. And I'm seeing this exact issue right now. And I'm seeing it with our varsity level too, especially in soccer. Basketball is big as well. But the travel academy scenes are causing a lot of issues when it comes to athlete participation at the school level. So for us specifically, I've had multiple kids. Now, for middle school wise, I'm not having a kid that can't play because of travel teams or because of academy teams, but especially in South Florida, there's a lot of academies related to Inter Miami, which is that MLS team. There's a lot of Inter Miami academy teams popping up all throughout South Florida, and we're having a lot of students, especially at Kings and at the middle, starting probably from 6th to 8th grade is when they really start these academies. They started pretty young. I'm seeing a lot of people join those academies. Now, these academy coaches are being upfront saying, you can't play school soccer. We don't want you playing any outside soccer other than us. We want our coaching to be the only coaching you're hearing. We want our program, our fitness, our even dietary, nutrition experts. I want all it to be from us, which is causing a lot of issue from our participation. We're a private school. Our enrollment is pretty solid for a private school, but it's not that high. Like, we need our athletes playing. If they're not playing, then we're hurting, especially when we're trying to get 3 different levels of a JV varsity and a middle school, and sometimes an A and B middle school. So the travel academy scene's kind of posing a lot of issues. It's starting at that middle school level. I've had to adjust, especially from the middle school boys soccer realm, of saying, yes, you can leave practice at 5:00 a couple of days a week. It's either that or he doesn't participate. Mm-hmm. So you have to have, I think the way you do it is we have to be lenient with this. We have to work with these parents and with these kids. We have to expect commitment. Like, you're not missing games, you're not missing practices, but if you have to leave early, that's where we've gotten to the point where less you can leave at 5:00 2 days a week to go to your practice. I understand. During practice, if you're feeling fatigued, this is a young kid. He's 12 years old. He's playing 5 times a week, some days 2 times, going to 2 different practices. He has games on Saturdays. He'll have 2 games with me a week. So also got to understand, you can't push the kid's body to past the limit that he has, but you have to be lenient with it. And I see a lot of coaches, a lot of ADs. They're like, either you're with us or you're against us. Like, you either at the practice or you're not. You're either doing the full thing or you're not. And I think, unfortunately, with this travel scene the way it is, there has to be some leniency. You got to work with these kids, or they're just not going to want to play for your school. I think the middle school level is where we get these kids excited for school soccer. We get them excited for playing for their school, representing that logo, representing that name, and playing for above themselves. I think the travel is kind of like, I'm playing so I get looked at. That's the way I view travel. School, you're playing for a lot more than that. You're playing for every single kid that goes to that school. So I think it's a cool ability. Playing school soccer is cool. It's a cool atmosphere. It's special. So we want to put that in our kids' minds now. Like, hey, like you're representing this. This is different than what you're doing with the travel scene. Like this, you're actually playing for a whole community. So it puts a lot of pressure on us as middle school ads and coaches to understand that we gotta make this, we gotta work with them, we gotta make it fun for them, we gotta make them learn too, because you're trying to build a program, but you also they need to like what they're doing out there. They gotta like being part of a middle school program for them to continue doing it, or we're gonna start losing these kids, and we're gonna start seeing them saying, hey, high school soccer is nothing, it's not important to me, I'm not benefiting from this. And we'll see, well, especially a school like us that has K through 12 and has middle school to varsity. We are trying to build our middle school so they go up to that varsity level and win a state championship. That's the end goal. So that's one thing we were seeing an issue with. And the leniency part is helping, but it's something we're still working through. I mean, I can't give you the final verdict on how to handle these situations, but because each kid's different, but you got to work with the kids. So that's the first thing. One other thing when it comes to the biggest challenge, and I think I've luckily given the opportunity to be relatable to kids, because I came in, I was assistant athletic director at 23, 24 years old, right out of college. I can relate. I can understand. I'm involved in social media. I understand what TikTok is. I understand what Instagram Reels are. So luckily for me, I am decently relatable. Okay, I might still not be cool when it comes to some of these aspects, but I'm decently relatable and I understand it. And I think for middle school ADs, you got to be relatable to your students. Be coaches, you got to be relatable to your students. This can't be a militaristic dictatorship type of feel to it. These are middle school kids that want to have fun and go out there with their energy, their balls of energy. You got to let them express themselves in ways. And I think that's, to unite a student body, you got to relate with them. And that's a lot of like, I would say older school head coaches haven't really adapted to the young kids. It's a different world nowadays. Instead of calling them soft, you kind of got to work with them. You got to understand why they're acting like that. You got to understand the social pressures they're dealing with. It's different and unique. It's not the same that when we grew up, even when I grew up, like it's not the same. So relatability is huge. You got to embrace the energy of a middle school kid. Okay. You can control it, but you got to embrace it. And I think when you do something like that and you kind of dive into their world a little bit, have some fun with it, that's when they start respecting and listening to you.
Yeah, I'm going to touch back on the club versus school thing. So I think we're 5 episodes in now, I believe, and I think every person's brought that up. One way
Makes
or the
sense.
other. It's like I said, it's all over the nation. And I think it was the second episode I mentioned. With you being a soccer guy, you would probably understand. But I always try to tell parents, tell kids, yes, your club's your club, right? That's your Chelsea, that's your Man U, that's your Inter, your club. But your school, that's your national team.
Yeah.
That's the team that you come with together, the people that live in your community, that are live around you, that you've grown up with, that you went to elementary school with, whatever. You come back to play with them. And like you said, and it's more for the national team scene, it is more of a pride because you're representing your country. And so I think and I try to explain, especially like I said, on the soccer side of things, sometimes that they understand it a little more is, the school is your country. That's
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be able to come recognize it. And yeah, big things can happen when you represent your school, and big things can happen on the club side as well. But like I said, how can we, merge the two? And like you said, I've been coaching soccer for 18 years, and I can't treat a kid now the same as I did, 18 years ago when I first started coaching. When it comes to you got to pick school or club, and so it's and it's same here. We've got mega clubs here in South Carolina that. We'll do the same thing. They tell the players not to play play middle school or play high school, because they don't feel maybe that the coaching staff is up to par with what they think they need. Which we talked about before. Sometimes the middle school maybe is not. Maybe it's just a dad or a mom that's out there that needs to be out there just to have a program. They just have to have a body out there.
Yeah, you're right.
But there's a lot of places where you have nationally certified coaches, whether it be soccer, basketball, or whatever, at the middle school level and at the high school level. And like you said, how can we make those relationships meet? And like I say, it's tough. It's tough. And like you said about it's just a different kid. I've coached middle school all the way to varsity. And last year I was coaching varsity soccer, and this year I'm back at the middle school. And, and I'm also doing girls basketball, and we had girls basketball preseason. And, it was a very good girl. She made a decision she shouldn't have made, and, or it was a better decision that she should have made. And so the coach's voice came out, and, versus, it was the outdoor coach's voice versus the indoor coach's voice. So I think I scared her a little bit, I guess it got a little deeper, and you could tell that really bothered her. And I had to go over and talk to her and apologize. Look, I'm not yelling at you, but let's make maybe a little different decision next time. But like you said, I mean, I can't coach the same way I did 18 years ago.
No.
It's just the world we're living in.
Yeah, and again, when it comes to school soccer, it's all about experience for these kids. They want a good experience, something that's fun. I mean, I don't know if you have a similar situation, but if a kid doesn't like a coach, like we're having parents come in and say, hey, they don't want to be a part of the team anymore. They want to quit. Like it's that fast. So, and not to say that you need to change or bend the way you coach or the way you view anything, or the way you view the game or coaching or any of that type of stuff for parents or for the viewpoints of the kids. But you also got to understand the different personalities. You got to understand the wide variety of people that are going to be on this team. And you got to be able to adapt the way sometimes you coach or you address somebody or what you're doing in practice to those personalities. Because again, at the end of the day, especially in the middle school level, you're developing your future. So you want them to enjoy that future. You want to enjoy the present so they can stick with the future. And then you actually have building blocks for your program. So I've gotten to that point where, listen, I'm not, my middle school season, I don't know how your seasons guys operate, but my middle school season is 10 weeks. Like I get into tryouts, I got a game the next week. Like it's pretty crazy how quick this turnaround for our we're in an independent conference, but it's quick turnaround from tryouts to practice to playoffs. Like it's crazy. So for me, I'm like, especially when most of the players I end up having are probably guys that play travel or at least play somewhat year round. I'm not going out here doing these basic drills every single day or doing fundamental stuff. Now you throw the fundamentals in and you work with it, but you kind of got to throw them in a way that it is fun or like they enjoy it. They want to come to practice. So it's different flexibility with the way you kind of coach and how you run it. I think middle school, you have to make it enjoyable.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think we're going to get there in a little bit with kind of what we both kind of do. We were talking before we started recording, and there's one little aspect that we both tried to add in.
For sure.
But you mentioned kind of being closer to their age and understanding social media and things like that. So how do you help your student athletes use their social media for good within y'all's athletic department?
So kind of like we were talking about, 2 years ago, I decided to start this club. It's called the Hype Sports Marketing Club at the Kings Academy. So it's 7th through 12th. Anybody that is interested in sports marketing, anybody that's interested in, getting community service hours at the end of the day, we have a lot of that, can join. And there's 4 different parts of it. We have our game ops, which are our students that can do scoreboard and music, help set up and break down game events. We have our photography section with anybody that's interested in taking photography for sporting events. We have our broadcasting, which we actually have. Luckily, Kings has a wide range of stuff that goes on at Kings Academy. So we actually have a whole broadcasting film crew, class and program at the Kings Academy. So luckily we've been able to kind of tap into that. And if you're interested in color commentary, you're interested in sideline reporting, you're interested in filming and being a camera person, like we even give those opportunities as well. But the 4th one is social media. So we have TK Lions on Instagram, we have TK Lions on Facebook, Twitter. We have a TikTok page, which is only our Hype Sports Marketing Club runs that TikTok page. It's not really necessarily the school itself, but we're trying to tap into all aspects of social media, and it's insane. Like I have 3rd graders that come up to me during the day, say, "Yeah, you're the guy on TikTok." Like you don't understand who's seeing this. Like you don't understand the impact you make from social media. It's crazy nowadays how many hours people these kids spend on their phones, how many hours they spend on Instagram, on social media, scrolling through all that stuff. And I think unfortunately there's a lot of bad stuff that can mess with somebody's self confidence, mess with a person's mindset or viewpoint on certain things. So I've always thought it's a great opportunity from a school to take social media, to take that type of stuff and show a kid the right way to use it, to show them the impact and the cool content they can create that has a positive impact on other people, on their community. And it's fun to do. So the first thing I would say is giving them opportunities. So I've given opportunity to multiple students that are interested in to run our social media accounts when it comes to like our story contents for games, to help create video content to post on the actual accounts, to do interviews with coaches, to really just be creative with it. We're so broad with the content we've created so far. Like it's from like serious things to absolutely just jokes, just messing around, having fun. And it's all positive content. So I think if you give your students an opportunity to show their creativity and to show that your social media can be used to promote a school and to have fun and to really build energy and a culture within your community and within your school. Also, the content you're creating, that's the big thing. Like, what are you creating? Like, how can you spin that in a positive way? How can you promote your students in your school in a positive way? Help the students take the opportunity to do that type of stuff. So they're learning and they're building a resume and they're actually getting experience doing that. And then also involve the student body, I think is huge. We like to have fun. We walk around practices. We obviously with our coaches' consent, we walk around practices. We interview the players. We have fun with the stuff. We let the players create like their own TikTok videos that we'll post. Obviously, if it's approved first, but like involve the student body. If you involve student body in social media, it's insane amount of eyeballs that are seeing this. It's an insane amount of like energy and hype you can create for events through social media. And if you can show all that type of stuff, you can get them involved. You can give them experience. You can give them opportunities and show them what the true content that really social media is made for. That's the best thing you really can do for a student. I think all the students have been through the Hype Sports Marketing Club. I have a few that have gone on to do certain things. Like I have one kid who is now the photographer for FAU Athletics, Florida Atlantic University here in South Florida. So he goes to all their football games. He goes to all their basketball games. He will in this winter at least. He's taking photos. He's on the court. Like that man's living his dream. He is on a football field during a Saturday night taking pictures for a college team. So it's like you're giving these students the opportunity to use social media for good and to create awesome content that's not a lot of, excuse my language, crap that we're seeing that is poisoning a lot of these students' minds. And that's what our viewpoint of social media is. Let's change the viewpoint. And I think this is doing stuff like that and getting them involved and getting your community involved and your school involved is how you do such things and creating that culture.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Like I said, even, and we'll kind of spread it out, even at the middle school, like I said, you can even start it with the 7th and 8th graders. I mean, we do the same thing just at the middle school. And even the high schools come and ask, and how are you able to put out so much stuff? Yes, we don't have as many sports as the high school does. But how are you able to put stuff out every day? I'm like, well, because it's a group of us. And, we have a content calendar that goes in there and on a spreadsheet. So ours, we call them media specialists. Our media specialists know exactly who, they sign up for that day. I'm the game day person. I'm the score update person. I'm the Monday memory person, whatever. And so, it's very easy, like you said, to give them the voice, and and we've probably all heard it at some point, but somebody's going to give your school a voice, so it might as well be us, right?
Yeah,
it might
exactly.
as well be the students and the coaches that are involved in it. I was going to ask you, kind of what we do. What I do is, I give them, another shout out to one of our sponsors with Gipper. I give the students access to Gipper, and then when they create their graphics, their announcements, their pictures, their whatever, and they hit publish, it automatically goes to, all of the platforms.
Yeah.
So kind of how do you get the content out there that your students create?
So we use Gipper as well. We actually use Box Out and Gipper for different reasons. Box Out is more, we actually have a lot of coaches that run their own accounts. So a lot of our head coaches run their own team accounts that are specific. We have a lot of I have a standards sheet that goes over what you can post, what the name of your account needs to be, what color coordination you need to use. Obviously, you got to use the Kings Academy colors, and that type of stuff. So that kind of manages our coaches, but we use Box Out for our coaches. So each one of our coaches has a Box Out account, but Gipper is more for the TK Lions main account. So I have a few students that social media specific. They like making graphics. So like you said, they have access to the Gipper. They create score graphics for me. They'll create story graphics for end of first quarter, halftime, and they'll go on there and post it. So that's the type of stuff I use for that. When it comes to actual posting, everything goes through me. So when it comes to creating captions, I don't have anything go straight onto the accounts. Not that I don't trust most of these kids, but it's hard to give them that much responsibility and it be perfectly correct sometimes. You can get one parent to see something that's a little off in their opinion, and then boom, you get 3 emails. So I have everything posting wise. They send to me, so they'll create something and they'll send it to me. If I approve it, they can put it on, or I'll download it myself and I'll put it on the accounts myself. But usually I'm the one that goes, when it comes to posting, it goes through me approval. But I do have multiple kids that have Gipper access, and they create these graphics. I actually have a lot of students that create their own graphics. They have their own platforms on Photoshop and Adobe. And so I give them the creativity and the freedom to create their own type of stuff. Their pre-game, their game day graphics. And then I use some of that as well. But when it comes to signing up for different things, I have an Excel spreadsheet that has a whole schedule throughout. We do fall, winter, and spring with the club. You can be a part of the club if you work one of the fall, winter, or spring, because we have a lot of kids that play sports that want to be part of this. So if they're playing in the fall, obviously I know you're not going to be able to be committed to the club itself. So they sign up for fall, winter, or spring. And then each game has the scoreboard. They have a music option they can sign up for. Scoreboard, we actually pay gift cards for our kids that work those, because that's like a job that is required. You have to have a scoreboard operator. So we actually have gift cards for those. And then we have photography, social media, and then game management, which usually is set up and breakdown. That's for kids that really want to get some community service hours. So within that, we have people sign up. And within that, we have certain number of slots for field access. We have credential passes we give to about 2 or 3 kids to get on the field, to get close-up pictures, to get close-up social media. And that will usually be our person that's running the actual social media account on the field. So that's the kind of sign-up set that we kind of do with the club. And I probably have 3 to 4 kids that have access to TK Lions Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter through that. And I usually give it to the elder statesmen that I know I trust, and I know they won't be doing anything or posting any weird stuff on there, obviously. So, but at middle school level, I have plenty of kids that are within 7th and 8th grade. I haven't gotten to the 6th graders, because for Kings Academy, 6th grade is technically elementary school. It's K through 6th. But 7th and 8th grade, I have a lot of kids that are doing that. And you guys would be surprised their knowledge. Like, they know more than I did. Like, I'm learning from these kids when it comes to the different social media accounts, because they're so on it. It's crazy. So take advantage of that untapped potential that you probably don't understand you even have at your school. Like, these kids are willing to do it. They love it. It's fun for them. So. Oh
yeah. And I mean, pretty much even with me being at a new school this year, I still have 10 students that signed up, in August. And then, we've got more now that they see what's doing, more that want to join.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like that, and being at the middle school, even at 7th and 8th grade, like I said, I let them put the captions in, but at the bottom of my spreadsheet is these are the ones you can use type captions. You can,
that's smart.
You can change the name, you can change the opponent, you can,
Yeah.
maybe change the theme. If it's a blackout or a blue out or whatever, you can maybe change instead of saying, get up, it's game day, please come support. I mean, so they've got a little bit of leadway to change.
Yeah, it's cool.
But the gist of it is already there for them. All they do is copy and paste it. But no, yeah, I mean, I definitely like it. And like I said, I can sit here and talk about this all day. And
yeah, me too.
But just, the marketing side of it, like I said, it starts at the middle school. And if the middle school, especially in the public setting, that middle school and the high school are separate, then, if the middle school is doing it, then hopefully it pushes the high school to do a little more. I think everybody's on social media now, but but you can start, like you said, in like we're doing, and starting the market, starting the media, starting them getting interested at the middle school level on how to be involved in athletics, but not be an athlete, right? How can, if you love sports, if you love athletics, but you don't, maybe you're the skill's not there, the fitness isn't there, whatever the issue is, why, on the reason why you don't play, you're still involved. And like you said, your kid is, started at the school, and now he's working at the college. So it's starting them and understanding this is a path that you could go. So, if they fall in love with at the middle school, then hopefully there's something for them to do at the high school. Even if they don't have a sports marketing group, just join broadcasting or joining yearbook and being the sports guy for the yearbook or the newspaper or whatever that the high school has. Like I said, I definitely think that's the way to do it. Like I say, I mean, we've got to put our message out there, even at the middle school level, because if we don't, then somebody's going to put a message out there, and it's not what we're able to put
exactly.
out there.
You got to control the narrative for sure. So, and that's one way to doing it. And not to say the more you put out, the better, but you want to be able to each little detail of your athletic department, you want to have the first word on. So definitely want to be active with that type of stuff. And I think social media is a great way of doing it. And I'll just give a little example of a kid working from middle school level all the way up. I had this one girl, she's a swimmer, but she's had a ton of injuries. So her swimming career has kind of gone down. But she loves sports. She loves being around it. And she started a photography account on Instagram when she was in, I think, 7th or 8th grade. I forget which one. And she went out and was taking pictures of different games and stuff. And she started with a camera that wasn't that great because she was just a little hobby that her parents were like, we'll see if she actually likes it or not. And now she's a senior. She's got a lot of followers on Instagram. She goes and gets, like, people buy her pictures. She goes to events. They pay for her to come to events to take photos of the players and stuff. So it's grown from a passion to not necessarily a career, but something she might want to be in sports marketing. She's thinking about that in college. She's actually picking a college based on if they have a sports marketing program. So that's the type of stuff you can kind of develop at an early age. And nowadays, and this is something I just kind of got into on Instagram recently, is one of our really good photographers. You can collab now on Instagram. And the collab is honestly amazing. First of all, it makes our job 10 times easier if you have photographers that make good photos and put good content out there. Basically, they can invite you to collab on a post. And I accept that invite. Their post comes on my feed. Like, it's that simple. And it promotes them as well. Like, I'm showing them on my account saying, hey, this is the guy that's out there getting good pictures of your son and daughter, of your athletic teams. Like, I'm promoting them as well. So it's a cool way to kind of combine. And I think all these social media accounts are doing a great job of showing kids talents and allowing us to really promote them, our students as well, outside of, like you said, the actual sports teams. Like, you can be involved in sports, you can have a career in sports outside of sports teams, outside of being a player. So I think this is a really cool aspect of that that we're kind of doing too.
Yeah, and like we said, is it's not only just the social media, but like you said, if there's a person that really enjoys video editing or taking pictures or talking, like I said, I got a girl that just she's very energetic. She loves to talk. Well, she's our PA announcer for our volleyball and basketball games.
Wow.
And, so we have somebody, like you said, running the music and
Mm-hmm.
doing things like that. And when we talked about before, we actually turned an old scores table into a digital scores table with TVs. And so we got a girl running the TVs, and,
Mm-hmm.
and so, like I said, it's a production, but if I can't do it by myself, and,
No.
and there's a lot of times you can't get, teachers to help, because they're tired, they want to go home and things like that. And then
Yeah.
if you try to get parents involved, then you can come there, because there could be some biased things here and there. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, and like I said, just allowing the students to have a voice. Like I say, everyone thinks that all this stuff can only be done at the high school level, but I think hopefully we've put it out there that it starts at the middle school. Whether it's a middle school only, or like in your case where it's a middle school, high school in the same building.
Yeah.
But it can start there, and it starts a passion in some of these kids' lives, and it just makes that culture even better. And maybe that is the reason that a middle school kid chooses to play for the school instead of the club. Because maybe the club's not putting pictures out about them, or putting highlight videos out about them, or things like that. Whatever, that may make a deciding factor, whether a kid decides to play for school or just stay with the club, and as well. And it's just making that experience fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they leave me as an eighth grader that last day, I want them to look back and say, I wish I could go one more year.
Mm.
Not to be an eighth grader again, but I wish I could get that same experience one more year. And like I said, hopefully they're getting the same stuff at the high school, and it all leads to kind of joins together. But
Yeah, I mean, and you're almost spreading that too. Like, you think about it, like you were kind of saying, if a middle school's doing it, maybe the high schools will start doing it. But you're throwing a kid that can maybe start something like that at a high school, or can get a group of kids together and create a club, a sports marketing club or something like that. So it's really just spreading that interest and that experience and that excitement for it. And like you said, culture. At the end of the day, I can tell you one thing: having these hype kids go to every sporting event, away or home, getting pictures, getting social media stuff. If you don't think that's creating an energy around your fan base, you're wrong. Like, you can see the change. You can see the change in the attendance at home events because of the way we can now promote them, and the way we can spin them to make them seem like a massive game. Sometimes maybe they're not, but you can spin it to that, and you can use it for a lot of positive energetic ways. So, like, it's just something you need to take advantage of, and you can start small and work your way up. But you have kids, you have available employees, like, that are actually want to be there, that enjoy it. They're going to go to the game anyway. Most of them. I mean, so let them do something that actually they enjoy, is fun, and you're building a culture with it, and with the parents too. Like, they're seeing all this stuff. So there's definitely an energy change for sure.
I think a lot of people, or a lot of middle school ADs that want to do something, they're scared because they feel, like I said, I've already got enough to do. This is just something else I have to do.
Yeah.
But again, hopefully after this past 20 minutes that we've been talking about this, that you see that it doesn't have to be just you. Like I said, I do very little with our social media and media marketing right now, just because I have the students that are running it. Where I've been, again, at another school, a whole lot larger school, and it was me, myself, and I. And some sports lacked because maybe I couldn't get to those games or whatever. But now, because to me there is no minor sport. Every sport in our program is major. And if there's a tennis game going on the same time a football game's going on, I want the tennis game blasted just as much as the football game. Or if whatever's big in your state and counties, if it's basketball and wrestling, they're going on at the same time. I want both of those sports blasted the exact same, because there isn't a major versus a minor. All sports are major. All our student athletes are major, and we want to publicize them as so. but like I said, it can be a big daunting task if it's just you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially when you're getting to trying to balance that, like you said, like the golf and then football, and both in fall for us. Like you got to be able to represent golf. Like you have to have people there attending events. You got to post the scores. You got to do all that type of stuff. So you got to show love for everybody. So that is the task. Like if you're going to dive into the social media aspect of an athletic department, you also got to realize what you're getting into. You can't show favorites. You can't. Now, you understand that you might get more content from football because of just the attendance, but you got to be equal with your coverage in some aspects. So
biggest thing is, you don't have to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So, get a group of kids together and let them do it. And basically the way I put it out there in the summer is who wants to get in games for free. And that was, I think that was the very first post I put out. Want to get in games for free?
That's good. That's good.
Please contact us, and that was it. That was like the only post. And then a couple days later came back and said, all right, this is what we're wanting to do. We need photographers, but because it spiked the interest and it was like, hey, what can I do to get in for free? And so, and that's, like you said, if they want to come anyway, so now we're going to actually put you on the sideline.
Yeah.
And
exactly kind of how we could do it. Like, hey, you can be on the field. You can even get gift cards for doing scoreboard. Like there's a way to spin it to make it seem like this is like wow, this is cool. Like I'm getting VIP access. Like I'm getting to take pictures right by the sideline. I get to see a touchdown that toe taps in the corner of the end zone. I got the best video. Like going viral is big nowadays. Like these kids want to get the best video, the best viewpoint, the best angle of all this type of all the plays and stuff. So you're giving these kids the opportunity to do cool things like that they're seeing throughout the country on social media. So now you're actually giving them a chance to do it. That's the whole selling point I needed. It's like, hey, listen, you get the opportunity to be on the field, be right there, watch the game from a cool angle, to create cool content. And if you guys post, like schools that aren't doing it, ADs that are listening right now, if you posted something like that, an interest meeting of literally just saying that, you'd be surprised how many kids you had showed up to that.
Oh yeah, because like I said, we even put them on again, we got to talk to the coaches first to make sure it's okay. But we even put them on the buses, and they travel with the teams to the away events.
Yep.
So again, it's
do
not
similar things.
It's just not half of the games they get in for free. They get into every single game for free. Because when they arrive at a stadium or a gymnasium or whatever, they walk right in with the team.
Yeah.
And so, obviously there's guidelines and stipulations and all that stuff that, you got to go over, but that way, like I said, if there is an event off campus, it's still being covered. And because there may be some schools out there, like I was at a middle school 7 or 8 years ago. We didn't have a baseball field on campus. We had to go use a city park school. So if it wasn't for that kid being able to ride the bus or ride with the team to that school, our baseball team would have never gotten highlighted. So it's making sure that definitely, like I said, the golf, there's when it's off campus and things like that, and some people may have the tennis off campus, is getting those people there to cover those events. But like I said, is there anything else? I know we've kind of hit this hard. I think it's good stuff. Like I said, I've been waiting on this episode because I can talk for 3 hours on it.
Seriously, day by day things, it changes and something new pops up. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like, but again, it just comes down to you guys understand the creativity minds you have in these kids. Like even at the age of even 6th through 8th graders, it's crazy the potential you have in using them, and they're willing and they're wanting to. So if you've been pondering it, if you don't think it's going to work, if you've been thinking like, I don't know if my campus or my student body is really into this type of stuff, I would just kind of challenge you to go for it and give it an opportunity, and you maybe makes your life 10 times easier, and you start getting some actual like, hey, coach, good job, man. I'm seeing all the scores. I don't even have to go to the game anymore. I know what's happening. I don't have to like text 5 people to find out who won. Like it makes a big difference with your community and just pleasing people.
Yeah.
So,
and like we were talking about before is, even with that is you can sell sponsorships.
Yeah.
for no upfront cost for you. I mean, I sold a game day sponsorship before for $1,500. Every time we put out a game day post, their logo was on the post, and so I got to bank the $1,500. I didn't have to pay for anything. I didn't have to go out and and buy a banner or buy a marquee or buy whatever that you have. It was just simple. Hey, every time we put a game day post out, we're going to put your logo on the picture. We're going to tag your company's website. We're going to tag your social medias. And so that way all the people have to do is click on the caption and they go right to your information. And that's been a game changer is being able to get sponsorships even at the middle school level. I said just here in the fall, we were able to raise about $2,500 just off of social media sponsorships. And
that's crazy.
Because like I said, it's we weren't selling them very expensive. We were selling them for like $200, $300 for the year. But we don't have to pay anything. There's no upfront costs. So you get 9 or 10 businesses that want to do that, and it adds up pretty quick. So that's just another way that you can spend it on revenue, because I know that's another challenge that the middle school is having is revenue, right? We don't have the revenue. Most of the time we don't have the sponsors and the businesses that pour into the high schools. But like we said, with everybody being major, our sports, our athletes are just as important as the juniors and seniors, because to them, that is their sport. They are an 8th grader at that time. We need to treat them as as important as an 8th grader. Now, when they're a senior, they're going to be treated importantly as a senior. To me, that the experience shouldn't lack just because you're a 7th and 8th grader versus a junior senior. Yeah, things are going to be different. Yeah. Competitions are going to be different. There's going to be things that are different, but enjoying the sport, enjoying the experience shouldn't be different. I mean, everybody should be enjoying themselves. So yeah, I mean, so a lot of stuff there. Like we'll kind of wrap it up with another question as we close, but I think we may have hit on this question somewhere in this discussion, but if you had to find one important personality trait of a middle school AD particularly that they need to have to be successful, what do you think that trait would be?
Yeah, I like that question. Well, patience is a big one. I kind of have a 3 thing that when it comes 3 different like characteristics that for me personally, I go every single day thinking these 3 things. I want to be positive. I want to be patient. I want to be a happy person. That's the 3 things I think about every time I walk on that campus. Before any conversation I have with a young kid, any complaining I hear, like any of that type of interactions, I put positive, patient, happy in my mindset. And the reason why is you got to lift people up. You have to lift the students up. You got to lift the coaches up. You got to lift the people around you up. Because again, you guys know as athletic directors, the amount of complaining, the amount of annoyance with the way you're operating from parents, from coaches, from outside schools. If you're a coach, from the kids not getting playing time, they don't have practice runs. There's a lot of this constant jabbing from the outside world on how you're doing things. So the one way to kind of get around making issues flare up, making them become more than they should be is to remain positive with that type of stuff and think of the good things you're doing and to try to lift people up continuously with the way you're interacting with them. Patience is huge. You got to be, like I said, you're going to get a lot of complaints. You're going to get a lot of annoying little kids running into your office with different things, and the energy might be all over the place with the middle school age, but you got to remain patient with them. Exploding on them is not the way to get their attention and their respect. So at the middle school level, especially as a coach, I'm coaching my middle school boys soccer team. I know I got to take a couple deep breaths before I walk into the practice. Like before I have my interactions with them, I got to take a couple deep breaths and understand you're going to get words and yelling and conversations from 75 different places. And they're going to be talking about a lot of different things that aren't related to the soccer or related to the drill you're doing. And there's a way to garner respect and to garner discipline from your team, but you also have to show a level of patience, or that kid's just going to think every second he says a word, there's going to be a scream or a yell, or you're going to have to run. And that's not the way we want to be viewed as coaches and as administrators. So patience is huge from the middle school, be a middle school AD. You have to have patience with every aspect of any social contact you have with anybody. There's got to be that level of patience, or it can backfire on you quickly and you can start a war you just don't want to be in. And then just be happy. I think with these, like I said, be relatable earlier. Being relatable is showing that energy and that passion and that caring attitude towards those kids. Like that's what they want. They feed off that type of stuff. Like they feed off that energy that you show. They feed off that the vibe that you kind of throw at them, and it has to come with some happiness. You got to be a happy person out there with this student body and with this age, and that kind of gets them going. And I think from a coaching aspect, it's even more important to be happy and to get that energy going. They'll play for you. They'll run through a wall for you. These kids, they look up to you more than you would think. Like, it's crazy the role model you can become as especially the middle school age. Like, they almost look at you as like God, almost, not to throw God in here like that, but that's like their viewpoint of you. And so that's giving you a platform and an opportunity to really make an impact on a kid. And if you're coming in with that patient, positive, and happy attitude, I think you can mold a kid and you can really show them you care. And that kid grows up calling you when he's 25 years old saying, "Hey, Coach Ryan, I'm getting married. I would like you to come. Hey, Coach Ryan, I did this. Thank you for those words you spoke to me when I was 12 years old." Like, you can have that type of impact on a kid at that age, especially with the growing, the hormones, the social pressures that are coming. Like, all that type of stuff is crazy at that age. So those are the three little things I would say I kind of try to live by when I deal with that type of age. And if you can kind of put yourself in that mindset each and every day, you have an opportunity to make a massive impact on these kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it dead on. I mean, it takes a special person and to lead in middle school and want to be in middle school. I'm one of the crazy people that I enjoy the middle school age. That's why I'm happy to be back. And but it does take a lot of patience, because, like I said, there's a lot of hormones going on, a lot of changes, a lot of things. And it's just, you never know what 16 is going to show up for that game. You may have the best game, and they all showed up and played and worked hard, and it was amazing. And then you come back the next day, maybe you're in a tournament, or so that morning they show up and everything's great. A couple hours later they show back up as a totally different team. Because like I said, maybe they got on social media, or maybe they were talking with somebody, or did something with the parents, or whatever. Emotional
roller coaster, always.
You never know what you're going to get. You could be fully prepared, and just it will take your breath out sometimes. We'll just say it that way. In frustrations, but you can't show it. Like I said, that patience is key.
Yeah, you're not going to be perfect. Okay. I have my moments where I'm like, man, I'll go back home at the end of the practice. Like, man, that was too hard. Yeah. But I just snapped.
It's like
so
that
it
girl
happens.
I mentioned at the beginning that I got a little vocal with.
Yeah. It happens.
Nothing against her. Is she's a great player. She made a bad decision. I got on her. Well, again, I'm used to getting on 17, 18-year-old girls, for the past 5 or 6 years that I've been coaching varsity. So coming back to the middle school, I'm like, okay, I may have to tone it down.
Tone it down a little bit.
Yeah. That 17, 18-year-old girl can take it. But it's a little different now that I'm dealing with 12 and 13s.
No doubt.
That's all good stuff. And like I said, half of this podcast has been about the media stuff. So I gotta put the plug out there. This podcast will be coming out the last weekend I think Thanksgiving weekend is when this podcast will be coming out. So it's
awesome.
Before the NADC in Nashville. I'll be teaching or giving a workshop Monday afternoon on free technology for the athletic administrator. So if you want to come by and see myself and Scott Payne and a lot of the stuff that we've discussed today with the different apps and things that are out there, that is LTC 614. The 2 tech classes have been completely rewrote. We rewrote them back in February. 613 dives into Google and everything Google. So we spend 4 hours talking about everything in Google. But 614, I believe 614 is Monday evening this year in Nashville. But like I say, if you want to dive into a lot of the apps that we've been talking about and different things like that, that's what 614 is. So maybe, hopefully we'll see you in there. Come join us. And
yeah, definitely.
And grow from there and maybe, get a 600 level course to go towards your CAA and your CMAA. And if that's the route that you want to go, but Ryan, I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in here. I think there may need to be a follow up podcast just on marketing and things like that. But I think it was good stuff. I think if everyone listened and stayed with us, that hopefully they got some things out of it. Before we go though, we will. I mean, I'll tag you on Twitter, but if you want to kind of put out your contact information for people,
for sure,
if they want to get in contact with you and pick your brains about some things.
Yeah, so anything I said, obviously, I'm open to talk to with anybody. Again, like some of the sponsors that Thomas has over here, Gipper, we use. We use Box Out Sports too. If you guys are interested in talking about that, any of the social media accounts, if you just have questions on how to really operate it, I'm more than welcome and open to talk about and having discussions of that. So my email is rjohnson, so RJOHNSON @TKA.net. So that's the best place to reach me. That's my work email. I'm on that basically every single day. So feel free to reach out there. If you guys want to take a look at our Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts or Twitter, it's @TKA Lions, all lowercase. And then the Kings Academy on YouTube is our school YouTube page. We have an athletics portion of that. But if you want to see kind of all the stuff we do, we have a big theater program as well. So just check those things out. If you have any questions on what we post and why we're posting it and how we're posting it, feel free to reach out. And I'm more than available to talk. We also have TK Athletics Podcast. We have a podcast we run through our Hype Sports Marketing Club. If you want to look at that, if you're interested in start a podcast for your athletics, if you want students that are interested, we have a lot of students that are interested in radio and being radio personalities. So we do have a podcast. It's TKA Athletics Podcast. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. So we do probably a episode every other week with different segments. One's like fall sports updates is currently one we're doing because we're in the fall sports season. Then we have a what's going on in the world of sports. So we do some random stuff like power rankings of NFL teams, college teams, all that stuff. All the stuff that people like to talk about, especially young students that are into that. So if you're interested in starting a podcast, look at that as well. So, and then we have an athletics website, tklions.net. It's totally separate from our school's website, strictly athletics, run through Sidearm Sports, which is a great website application. A lot of colleges use it, so it's a very good presentation. So any of that type of stuff you have any questions on, let me know. That's rjohnson@tk.net.
Good deal. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put that podcast on my list and start listening to that on the way to school and figure out how to implement that in my school. So thank you for that. So, but
no problem.
Again, thank you for everyone for listening, and hopefully you got better today with our discussion with Ryan Johnson from the Kings Academy in Florida. Again, Ryan, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Thomas.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Middle School Athletic Director Podcast. If you like what you heard and want to hear more, please subscribe on the platform that you are listening or viewing from, and give us a rating and a review to help us know how we are doing. Again, thank you, and see you next time.
This episode was sponsored by Gipper. Use the code MSAD10 for 10% off any Gipper plan at Gipper.com.